So observation is going to give us a really good understanding of the character of these birds. But although drawing from life is essential, there's another tool that we have that really help us to analyse and break down the movement. Because sometimes when we're watching something, we can think that we've understood something, or we think we've seen how something moves, but we're making a lot of assumptions. So by taking our camera here and by videoing our subject, sometimes we get a much better view of what's actually happening, and then we can use that video to really analyse the movement, really break it down frame by frame, analyse the movement and understand exactly what's happening. What we can do is we can analyse the movement just by going backwards and forwards, so we can see that as the wing comes up, the head goes down. It's almost like the bird is pushing itself down into the water and then bounces up out of the water with as the wing pushes down. We can also see that the water flicks up and moves away. It goes actually quite far. It actually flicks back quite far, that water. We can also see the kind of very fast wing movements, up, down, up, down, up, down, quite quick movements. We can see how just as it lifts out of the water, it pushes its head forward, launches forward. We can see that the legs hang for a while after it first comes out of the water. So we can use this video just to kind of break down the movement and understand what it is that we're seeing. Just by playing it over and over again, we can just... So it's kind of like an informed impression. If we were just doing it from observational drawing, if we were just looking at the birds in the water, it would be more of a representation of what we can see, like an impression of what we can see. Whereas this is just one step towards having a bit more information, but not so much so that we're going to copy it directly. So when you start analysing live action footage, you start to realise it's quite a nice way of breaking down the movement. What's interesting is how the body of the bird doesn't really move up and down. It's got quite a smooth trajectory. The head actually goes down and then up and along, and it doesn't bounce up and down. It's only the wings that go up and down. The body itself moves in quite a smooth way. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start looking at it frame by frame, and I'll start animating. I've got my peg bar, my light box, which I can plug in, and I've got some animation paper. I've got a hard pencil here, quite a hard pencil, because at this stage I'm just going to be very sketchy. I'm going to make some very rough sketches to, you know, get a feel for what each frame is like. See, what I can see is that the wings are not coming up at the same time. One wing comes up, the other wing is slightly lagging behind. I'm going to exaggerate it here. You can't see the other wing in that frame, but I'm going to put it in because with animation you have to explain to the audience what's happening through your drawings. As the wings come up, the head goes down and the tail goes down, touches the water. So the next frame, so I'm getting a feeling of how the bird pushes down into the water as his wings go up. So instead of using this footage to just draw some really nice still images of the bird in flight, what I'm aiming to do here is explore the movement and the shapes that are made from frame to frame. And by scrubbing along the timeline, I can see the shapes and how they change from frame to frame. And that's what I'm interested in doing at this stage, just learning about what's happening as the bird leaves the water, not aiming to make a finished piece of animation. I'm making a movement sketchbook, so each sketch just relates to the sketch either side of it, and then using the movement in the video as a reference. So I'm actually just learning more about what's going on by doing this. I've started to see so much more than I had before. I've started to think about all the elements of the bird and how they're working in relation to each other, and how the water's reacting to the bird. Okay, so I've got a sequence here now that I've done just by going through that video and taking the frames that I want. So I've got my camera here. I've got a holder for the camera and a tripod. It needs to be nice and steady. I'm using Stop Motion Studio to line test. I just need to tape the peg bar down. So this last stage is to do a line test just to see what the movement I've captured looks like. I'm not expecting it to be a finished sequence or to work as a piece of animation, but I just want to be able to look at it and see what I've picked up from the video with my sketches. Okay, so now I can test it. So I go to the settings and change it to 12 frames per second. And then I can play. But it's a good idea to keep watching it, and sometimes just pause, just scroll through like this just to make sure to see what's missing. So that's an exercise in using video to observe and sketch out a movement. In the next video, we'll use this sequence as a starting point for a proper animated sequence. Please like and subscribe and watch the next video. Thank you very much.